Scale calibration and certification. In this section, we'll review the key components and requirements for proper and timely scale inspections as they pertain to this certification process, including stakeholder roles and responsibilities and documentation submissions. The producer is responsible for retaining the services of a qualified technician and scale maintenance and calibration firm to assess the condition and accuracy of the scales within the time intervals prescribed in this plant certification checklist. The producer must provide the qualified scale technician with a copy of the scale check data form located in Appendix B of the audit checklist. The qualified scale technician must check and calibrate each scale in accordance with criteria outlined in this form. A qualified scale technician can be a technician employed by the scale manufacturer or distributor, or they can be an employee of the scale service contractor hired by the producer to do the inspection and calibration. The plant certification auditor is required to certify that the scale inspections have been completed on a consistent basis at the required time intervals prescribed in the audit checklist. A scale is comprised of a suitable system of levers or load cells which weigh consistently within the plant certification audit tolerances, with loads indicated by a beam with balance indicator or full reading dial or digital readout display. As mentioned in previous modules of this qualification program, take the time to review batch records for batching accuracy consistency and note any discrepancies that could be associated with scales out of calibration. Scale systems, particularly in older concrete batch plants, are often comprised of beam and balance, with dial scale or digital indicators, or load cells, such as this S-beam tension load cell, which would be more commonly found in modern facilities, with the weigh hopper suspended from a beam system of sorts. Only government-approved test weights may be used to calibrate a scale, and the serial number of each weight used must be recorded on the technician's field report, which should accompany the ARMCA scale check data form. Each scale must be accurate to within plus or minus 0.2% throughout its normal operating range. Scale calibrations shall be done at a minimum of 2 points. Note the calibration points are 20 and 80% of the maximum normal operating range. For example, if the actual scale capacity is 25,000 kilograms, but it's never loaded to more than 20,000 kilograms, then the calibration points should be at 80% and 20% of 20,000, or at the 4,000 kilogram and 16,000 kilogram intervals. You may want to ask the producer to what maximum value they load their scales, just to make sure that they've had them calibrated within the correct range. Scales need to be calibrated every 6 months, unless the plant is only open for the spring, summer, fall season, in which case the scales should be calibrated upon opening each spring. Scales must also be calibrated whenever there's a major physical alteration or reconfiguration of the plant that could impact a scale's accuracy. Finally, if the plant is physically moved in any way, shape, or form and any distance from where it rested during the previous calibration, the scales must be recalibrated. Please ask these questions of the producer's representative during the audit process. Dial indicator scales must allow a reader to distinguish differences to 0.1% of the total scale capacity. While completing the scale inspection and calibration, the scale technician will complete the scale check data form. By signing this document, the technician is certifying the scales meet the requirements of the ARMCA plant certification audit and checklist. The scale check data form must be signed by both the technician and the concrete producer's representative. Ask to see the scale calibration records for the past 3 years. Ask for service records for any repair work done in accordance with the deficiencies cited by the technician. Remember that any plant certification audit deficiencies cited by the inspecting auditor must be remedied within 4 weeks of inspection, unless otherwise agreed to by ARMCA and the inspecting auditor. The scale technician is responsible for performing a mechanical inspection of the scales, calibrating the scales, issuing a scale check and calibration report, and certifying that the scales meet all of the ARMCA plant certification audit requirements by signing the scale check data form. The technician's check and calibration report should show in detail the loads applied to the scales, the results observed, the adjustment made, and the recheck process to confirm the calibration action corrected the observed deficiency. As mentioned before, the serial numbers of the weight used in this process shall be recorded on the report for traceability purposes. Check that the scale calibrations have been done consistently and at the right intervals over the past 3 years, and confirm that technicians' reports contain all of the information required for this certification process.